Hello, our darling listeners. Hello, our awesome viewers. Welcome to another episode right here on Serenity TV. My name is Faith Martins. Have you missed me? Because I've missed you too. Now, we are in the season of political parties literally fighting for our attention. They be like, look at us. We are the right party you should vote for. And literally everybody is coming up on the stage of politics and giving us what we already know. It's funny how the mandate that you want to pour out to your citizens is a tactic that is already very much known to them. But that's not what we're going to be talking about today. Before we introduce our guest today, I would like for you to go follow us on social media platforms at Serenity TV. If you're not subscribing to our channel, you are wrong. Go and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Serenity TV. Today, we are being joined by a renowned political analyst, someone who has bathed the water of politics, someone who breathes politics right here in Imo State. And today's conversation is going to revolve around something very important. Hello, Kachisin, how are you doing?
Hello, Faith Matters.
You look shy. Are you shy?
No, I'm not. I'm never a shy type.
Okay, so this is that season where we get to talk, not because we've not really been talking, but come next year, January, we're going to have a dispensation that could either mar or make Nigeria. And one of the things that we've been talking about is the voting system, right?
Yeah.
Lots of persons have voted through and through. Lots of persons have spoken through and through. Nigerian citizens have listened through and through as well. But then again, do you think that the voting system by next year, by January, is going to be quite different from what we already saw in the year 2023?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. I will answer it in two ways.
Okay.
If I say it will be quite different from the previous years, first of all, in the sense that from the look of things, it will be marred by political apathy. Yes, because the citizens and the electorates, so far so good, have lost confidence in the electoral system, particularly the judiciary. Yes, because looking at what happened at the last election, if actually Nigerian election system went on smoothly, especially that of presidential election. Of course, permit me to mention them, or if I'm not permitted, I can still go.
No, you can go ahead.
Okay,
mention,
so if actually the last election went as it ought to be, I think Obi should have been the Nigerian president as of now. But we saw how it happened. So looking at that, many people lost confidence in the electoral system. And then the talks all around where people are saying that most people said, there's no need for me to come back again to vote. I won't vote again. What is the need of wasting my time under the sun at the end of the day?
Hold on. Just before you continue, you mentioned that Obi, looking at what transpired in the 2023 election, Peter Obi is supposed to have been the leader.
Yes.
However, we had lots of constituencies who actually said they voted for President Tinubu. So you're saying Peter Obi should have been the person that should be leading in the position of the president right now. Do we have staunch evidence that he actually won the election? Are you trying to say that the INEC did not do its job properly as it ought to have done it? Is that what you're saying?
Okay, thank you very much. Let me pick it from here. Do I have a cogent evidence? Right? Good. That is where the judiciary now comes in. Because most of the times, we Nigerians, we normally play emotions. But the truth is that in Nigerian politics, there is no emotions in Nigerian politics, especially when it comes to the judiciary. You must present your evidence. Court goes by evidence. That is the truth. Now, let me take, for instance, the governor of Imo State, Senator Hope Uzodinma. During that period when the former governor, Emeka Ihedioha, was on seat, he presented facts. That was the 388 results that he said the INEC committed. He presented those results, duly signed by recognized electorates who are supposed to sign it. So, and the court, in that presented, that was his prayers. He said, look at these results, that is, they were omitted. And the court looks at it. They were legit enough and cogent enough. And they declared him governor. So if you are going to answering the question about Obi, it's left for the judiciary. If actually they couldn't provide, because okay, maybe we'll come to that, the role of social media. Because it were all over the places, social media, Obi is leading. Even before the elections were announced, they say Obi is leading in Lagos. Obi is leading at this place. At the end of the day, INEC announced another thing. All those things were what we saw on social media. Now, when they arrived at the court, maybe they weren't able to provide all these necessary evidences that so and so, you want so and so polling unit. So the long and short of what I'm saying is that evidence, you must present cogent evidence enough to the court for them now to look at what your prayers.
So you're basically saying that, because I'm hinging on the statement that you just made. So you're basically saying that based on what social media showed us, Peter Obi ought to be the president of Nigeria as of now, and not based on what the courts, because I remember them going to court. They went to the appeal court and they kept on going to court for a very long time. But then again, President Tinubu emerged winner, right? So are we working with based on what social media presented or what INEC presented? And if we're working with what social media presented, based on these people were actually at different polling units and they were literally calling out the scores. If we're working with what social media presented, do you think there was an Ojoro per se? I mean, we're done with 2023 election. We're moving on to the next election. But I want us to come from somewhere and head to somewhere. So are we supposed to shine a torch at INEC? Because from what we saw on social media, INEC did not play a fair game by giving the position or the winning, the win to President Tinubu. Is that what you're saying?
Thank you very much. Like I said, most of the things we saw on most of the things we see on social media are deceptive.
Okay,
they are not real.
Yeah.
Right. So if you say this thing is red, and at the end of the day, INEC declared another thing and said this thing is blue, where it will end up is in court. Now, when you now get to the court, you now have to prove beyond reasonable doubt that this thing is red. So INEC on their own declared the result and said so and person won the election. They went to court. Starting from the tribunal, the appeal, and the Supreme Court, it was still President Tinubu that won in these three areas. So that is the point I'm making. Whatever you say, so let us remove emotions from the political system and face the fact. So if we must get it right, we must get it right from the foundation. Address issues the way they are.
Okay. So if we are talking about emotions, one of the key aspects of leadership is having the mind for the people and connecting with the people emotionally. Aside from just connecting with them emotionally, you have to connect with them based on what they are actually going through. And it is only emotions that would permit you to connect with them based on that. So you're asking us to remove emotions. Are we removing emotions based on leadership, or are you asking us, the citizens, to remove emotions when we see that this thing is supposed to be black, but because of evidence that have been garnered, evidence that could have been falsified, it is now green? So are you saying we should remove the emotion by not clamoring that this thing should be black and green and crying that we have been we've been robbed? Rather, we should now look for ways to hold the person that falsified this thing. So I just want to understand what you mean by removing emotion. What do you mean? Should we stop crying and clamoring for this change as it ought to be and now start doing everything within our power to actually effect the change? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, thank you very much for this question. Now, if it were to be in Senate claims, people vote intelligently.
Okay.
Now, it will now bring us to emotional intelligence. No, voting intelligently and voting emotionally.
Okay.
If it were in Senate claims, they vote intelligently. This is the right candidate. We are voting this person. But based on the Nigerian factor, most of the Nigerian electors now vote emotionally, which is the reason why we are here today. We vote emotionally. Now, take for instance, you have seen this person, that this person is not fit to occupy this particular position.
Yeah.
But maybe from what you are getting from that person, you will say, you are voting this person.
Yeah.
Or maybe this person has money. This person is sharing money. Because of the one you will get at that particular time, you are voting that person. That is where emotions comes in. But so long Nigeria political system is concerned, emotion have eaten deep into our fabric. Yes. So Nigerians will vote by emotions. Now you look at this person. Take for instance, maybe you're related to a governor of Imo State, maybe occupying a very juicy position, and you know that so presidential candidate is not fit. Look at the way Nigeria is now. People are crying and the rest of it. So, but based on what you are gaining, you will still want to continue from what you are gaining by deciding to say, okay, you will now convince another person, let us vote for this person. I get what I'm going to.
I get
so
that.
So long we are still playing emotional politics in Nigeria, we may not still get it right. That's what I'm saying. Emotions comes from the heart, whereas intelligence comes from the mind. So if you have the intelligence, most of the people that said they are voting by intelligence, this person is good, they end up not, most times Nigeria, the best candidates end up not emerging. The best candidate most times, they don't emerge. Are you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that is it. So long we are doing emotional politics, we will continue to elect the wrong leaders and we'll keep on crying and having reoccurring incidences in the country.
So now that you mentioned emotional voting system, let's highlight on a certain ethnic group, which is in the Igbo.
Correct.
The Igbos have not had the opportunity of actually ruling this country. And that is something that they have clamored for. And that is why there is so much push for Peter Obi to emerge as the president of the country. And just like you mentioned, lots of persons have seen that this is what Igbo wants. Obviously, that's what they want as well. But then again, they are taking away the fact that him being the president might not favor another ethnic group, which is the Yorubas, or maybe the Hausas, for instance. And that is sort of a, what should I call it? A tint in the pureness that should be politics, in the logic that should be politics, right? However, do you think that Igbos clamoring for Peter Obi to be the president and wanting to vote, maybe not intelligently, because for all you know, we don't really know, right? He must have presented his fact and his technical know-how in the field of politics and all of that. But then again, there could be somebody better. But do you think the reason why Igbos are really fighting and clamoring for Peter Obi to be president is based on emotion? Or do you think that they're actually thinking intelligently and they want to vote intelligently for him to be the president?
Thank you very much. Now, it's a two-way thing. All of us are Igbos, right? Now, since we are all are Igbos...
All of us, but some of us are Igbo.
Okay, some of us. Now, I'm not talking about here.
Oh.
I mean generally.
Okay.
We are Igbos,
Ndi
right?
Igbos.
We are Ndi Igbos. Now, politically, Ndi Igbos belong to several political parties. Are you getting me? We have APC, we have ADC, we have PDP. Now, I remember that these people in different political parties have different political ideologies.
Of course.
Right? Good. So, if the ideology of you now, for instance, if the ideology of you being in APC is that we are voting so and so person. Now, our ideology is that, okay, we are voting Peter Obi, who is our brother. Emotions will come in, and then intelligence will come in. Now, the emotions coming in now, as an Igbo man, I know that this person is from Igbo. Ordinarily, I should vote this person and support him, Peter Obi now, and support him. But based on the political ideology of the party I belong in, are you getting me? I may drop emotions aside and decide to go by intelligence. Say, okay, this person is better than Peter Obi, and decide to vote that person. Are you getting me? But now, come to think of it, one, if I may ask, how prepared are we Igbos to clean presidents? Now, if you check the geographical space of the Southeast, you said that number one, we don't have the number. And maybe we still don't have the reach. Now, check the political appointees currently. in this present
Do
renewed
you
hope
think
administration.
it's the numbers that we don't have or the land mass?
Numbers matter. Number of registered voters. Forget about landmass. Landmark doesn't appear in election. What matters is number of registered voters in Southeast. If you check the records, you see that Southeast normally have the least number of registered voters.
Okay.
Okay, check the current registration now according to parties. The last time I saw that of ADC, you see that Southeast is way lower. So how do we get there?
So, but don't you think the reason why we keep recording this very low participation when it comes to voting is because some Igbos are saying the person that we want an Igbo to rule. Do you think that could be the reason why we're recording this low participation?
If you want an Igbo to rule now, it will now make you to now canvas for support for people to go and register. If truly you want our own to be there, you must do everything humanly possible to ensure that this person is there. And the primary thing is, first of all, go and register for voters card.
Okay.
Currently now in my local government, they are moving from ward to ward registering people. Currently now.
Okay.
So that is the first step. If you want to succeed in the election, register for voters, then educate people, political education, and the rest of it. Then make yourself available on that election day. Forget about your vote doesn't count, your vote doesn't count. If you are willing, you say, if you fail, you try and do what? And try again. So if you have been trying that and saying that our vote doesn't count, you shouldn't even make most of us, especially in the South, I'm relating it to Southeast now, to have that apathy. Because when you have that apathy, that is not what the North or even the Westerners are even telling you. Are you getting what I'm saying? So you must have to do everything possible. Primarily, according to the Bible, heaven helps those who help themselves. Do the one in your hands first and leave the rest for, will I put God here? And let me leave God aside.
Leave the rest for God. However, Catchison, let me also ask, because the conversation that we're having today is based on voting intelligently and not emotionally. Which is a little bit difficult because the human mind is filled with emotions. You mentioned the mind and the heart, right?
Yeah.
But the heart sort of connects to the mind one way or the other. No matter how you want to put it, it's really hard for you to extract emotions from very huge decisions like this. Decisions that could either take you forward or backward. There is no way emotions don't get tangled up in those decisions. So, like I said, next year we're going to have another set of candidates emerge. People who would clamor, that would appeal to our minds, that will appeal to our emotions as well. People who will tell us things that they've told us previously and they want us to do this, they want us to do that. Now, the people who would be voting, how would we have these people extract their emotions from their minds? How do we begin to tell these people that the things that you have heard, because that's one of the technique of politics, to appeal to your mind, to literally work with your psyche and have you do what probably you don't want to do. It's going to shock you the number of people who would come in and tell you that this party that they've been talking so much badly about might just be the next one. They'll be like, I mean, the devil we know is better than the angel we don't know, right? Yeah. So I'm saying politics works with emotions. It works with mindset.
Yes.
But then again, we are going to be having an election, a presidential election, much later, a governorship election, and even, house election come through by next year. How do we begin to sort of walk through these things, the emotions? How do we begin to subtract the emotion from the intelligence? How do we begin to sift the ones that are emotional appeal by our politicians from the ones that are intelligence based? Because it will shock you. You think, have we not suffered enough? Have we not learned enough? But it will really shock you to see some persons making a certain decision based on their emotions, based on the cup of rice that they're going to receive, based on the school fees they've promised to pay for their children, based on the money that they have been promised to give. Nobody would even remember that, this Nigeria has to be better. And it does not matter the amount of money they want to pay me now. It has to be better for my children unborn. Their own is, let's take it now. Then every other person will survive. How do we preach the gospel of intelligent voting? let's not have a repeat of voters who would come and just vote just the way they want to vote, forgetting that we are currently in a nation that will sink at any slightest mistake.
Sorry, let me get you. You said, how do we preach?
Yeah.
Is it the politicians preaching or
No,
you as
we as advocates,
Okay,
you
advocates,
as an
okay,
analyst,
okay,
how do we begin to
okay.
preach? Because one of the things you were talking about is don't vote emotionally, you vote intelligently, you, and it is something that sounds like a really, really nice words put together.
Okay.
But how do we begin to tell them that this is how you will subtract emotions? This is how you're going to vote intelligently.
Okay, thank you very much. If I answer that question, no, the self-deceit, I think, is the greatest deceit, to deceive yourself. Now, let me give you just an instance. Last December, a particular politician, I wouldn't want to mention his name. He's a particular in the House of Reps.
Okay.
He invited us, his constituents, to his place for normal December sharing of palliative and all that. Now, somebody from my place took a transport. The transport that led that person to and fro was about 7,000, as the person directed to me. Was about 7,000. Now, getting there, this particular politician gave them 10 kg rice and 10,000 naira per person for transport. And this person came from a place and spent over 7,000 and now had about 3,000 naira left. Now, somebody who have just had that experience, is there any amount of a sermon you will preach to that person to say, vote this person again, and that person will vote? In the situation that this person, just for the 1 year, you know, in this our Nigerian policy is only when the December period comes.
Yeah.
That is when they will remember their constituents.
Yeah.
And now, out of how many, you know, the amount of money they are taking home, constituency allowances and the rest of it. Now, what somebody got was just 10 kg rice and 10,000 naira. Minus the person's transport is having 3,000.
3,000 naira.
So somebody like that have had that kind of experience, I don't think you need to tell this person, re-elect this person again, and that person will do that. So it now brings me down to this. The self-awareness on our own end. If we have the self-awareness that we all know the truth, we all know who is doing well and who is not doing well. So somebody, just like you now said, we that are advocates doing this, in fact, I must say that this is part of the moods, right? The avenues to equally reach out to those who may not have the experiences we have. Because I believe after this episode, it will be online. People will watch. So somebody like you, maybe somebody who is seeing your face and saying that this thing is coming from you, faith, the person is already convinced.
Of course.
So we are in the media space, and the rest of you must continue to advocate using any means necessary, like we are doing it here. We can equally use the print media and the rest of it to continue to champion for good governance. In as much as there are people you may not easily convince, but the most you can, you do it. Our younger ones, those in the schools, we can outreach, go to the schools and all that. Even call for voter education, especially our aged ones who may not even know how to vote. You know, voter education is very necessary. So we must continue to do that. When you now do that, emotions may not come in. People will now begin to see reasons to vote the right person. When you now tell them, look at this, at the end of the day, what happened? Our road. And just like you said earlier, every year they will still come back and echo the same.
It's like a repeat. And
they will come back and echo the same thing. Even somebody will be asking, she because hardly you see any politician that will not put road. Good road, this and that. Besides,
and that's like a basic amenity that you're supposed to normally have.
Yes. Meanwhile, what do we citizens even want from these politicians? Is it not good road, education,
basic,
power,
basic
amenities? That's the basic. Nobody is talking about water again, because virtually everybody has borehole in their houses. So these are the basic things we need from these politicians. So the moment we tell ourselves the truth, the better for all of us. So what I'm saying is that we must continue to use this avenue and also explore other means to continue to champion for good governance and reach out to the aged and those who are not informed.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Kachisin, for actually coming today to discuss this with us. I'm going to get your final words real quick. However, before I get your final words, it's important that I put this out there. Okay. Your final words will just be what we'll wrap up with. It's important that you understand that Nigeria is literally in our hands. It's right in your hands. It's no longer in the hands of whomever you think it's in the hands of. It's now in our hands. We get to take back our country and set things right. I know right now you say, oh, we don't have any power. Democracy has been raped in situations like whatever. But the truth of the matter is we have the capacity as Nigerians to choose what we want. And when I say you have the capacity, I mean you have the right to say no when you're being offered money to vote for the wrong person, someone who you're not sure would actually pull us from where we are. But because you want to get small change at for just two weeks or 2 months, you're willing to take it. We need to take back Nigeria. Let's stop the nonchalancy. Let's try as much as possible to focus on the new Nigeria we want to see. Not for you, maybe. For your children unborn, because you don't want them to come and then there is no light entirely. We are suffering no light. They might just come and they will end up not even seeing electricity. We'll just transition to solar system. And everybody will be wondering what happened to the power grid. You don't want that for yourself. We have the right, we have the capacity to choose who we want, okay? And make sure you're choosing intelligently, like Kachisin said, and not based on emotion. Don't say, this person has done well. We know him. We know his antecedent. Are we sure that he can actually carry the country when it comes to the presidential level? What is your certainty? What are your truths based on? What is it founded on? These are the questions you need to you ought to ask yourself. Kachisin, let me have your final word before we go.
Okay, thank you very much. There is something we say in Igbo. Ashi ijewo ejema ejerube. Ane ejekwa. Then a seasoned Ghanaian author, Anikwama, I'm aware you know him. We read the novel in school. Who authored The Beautiful Ones Are Not Yet Born. He opined, those who are blessed by the soaring swiftness of an eagle and have flown before, let them go. I will journey slowly, and I too will arrive.
Of course.
So my pattern was to Nigerians is that the road may seem tough, but we must continue to remain courageous. We must continue to do the best in our hands. Because is it about Einstein or so, or Pluto that said if you fail to participate in the governance, in the political governance in your country, that you will end up being ruled by fools.
Exactly.
Yes. So no matter, that should be Pluto. Yes. So no matter the situation of Nigeria, we must remain unflinching. We must remain resolute. During the election, as we are preparing now to go in next year, come out and vote. Let it not be that after voting, it wasn't counted. But the moment you have that party of not even coming out, the opposition party will even leverage on that. Yes, because if you go to we will witness in the last election, most of the places that were marred by insecurity, there were results from those polling units. Massive number. If you're asking who came out to vote. So the moment you relax, opposition will still leverage on that. So we must continue to do the best we could and we can to ensure that we get it right in the country. And please, the security agencies, especially with the youth, are equally vulnerable. Because if you watch, most of the electoral malpractices that are carried out are being orchestrated by the youth.
Yeah.
You see ballot snatching, this and that, it is the youth. So the moment you begin to say no, forget about, okay, nobody that was given maybe any amount of money the last 4 years that is still eating it now.
Of course. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for listening. This is where we'll have to draw the curtain. You have to vote. intelligently this time. 2027 election has to be based on intelligent votes, because we as Nigerians, we have come to understand the importance of voting the right person into authority. And until that happens, we cannot get the Nigeria that our children would want to see. My name is Faith Martins. Please do well to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Bye.